Hi everyone, it's Nicole McWork for the Mama Elephant June 2014 Stampede blog hop. And today I have a set of 3 cards showcasing the new Bountiful Blessings greeting stamp set, plus pretty florals from the Sweet Havana stamp set, as well as a few florals from the brand new Bloomsies stamp set. And I'm creating a watercolor cards rather, with these stamps. What I'm doing first is I am using some of the Tim Holtz watercolor paper, and I am using the distress markers because distress ink and markers and products react and work well with water. I'm using this picture from the Sweet Havana Mama Elephant stamp set, and I inked only the edges with the pumice stone distress ink marker and then stamped it on the watercolor paper and used a paintbrush and some water to pull that color to the inside of the vase. I purposely left the top portion of the vase uninked because I want some of the florals to hang over the front of the picture or vase more like they would in real life. Now I'm using the crushed olive distress marker for these leaves from the Sweet Havana stamp set. And again, I'm using a wet paintbrush to kind of blend that out and give it more of the watercolor look. I'm not using a ton of water here. I'm trying to use just more of a damp paintbrush so that the distress ink doesn't run like a watercolor might. Now I'm stamping up or inking up these larger florals now with some purple distress markers. I'm using the milled lavender and seedless preserves, just testing them out to see what I liked here, and those were the 2 that I picked out of the more purple and violet type of distress ink markers. And I'm going to simply stamp that. I'm removing a little of the ink, you can see with my finger. Not a very precise type of stamping. Excuse me again. Anyway, and then I'm simply taking my damp paintbrush and just kind of blending that out to soften it and give it that watercolor look again. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can kind of blend it in and down to fill in any of those areas that maybe don't have anything. And I'll use the lighter color as well. This is the milled lavender. So all of the florals here are from Sweet Havana. And I like using a light and a dark. It gives the illusion of some dimension. And I thought I might just draw in that top line of the picture there where I need it to be, but I haven't decided yet if I want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and ink up some of the greenery from Sweet Havana using the crushed olive. And again, just with a damp paintbrush, kind of blend that out. Blending out all of these different areas to soften it and give it that really soft, pretty watercolor look. I like to lay out some of the stamps as I'm working to make sure that they're going to fill in and look the way that I want them to. And I really moved it around a lot. I couldn't decide exactly how I wanted to do all of these. And then I decided I kind of didn't like that, so I'm just going to use a wet paintbrush. And it was really light anyway, so I was able to kind of remove that. But I really needed to fill in there, and so what I ended up doing is adding just some additional greenery. I'll show you in a little bit. It was a work in progress. This was just kind of some playing around. I'm loving the look of watercoloring lately, and so this was more of an experiment and just messing around with my stamps and ink more than anything. Again, removing some of the ink with my finger, and then you can where it kind of is not as dark maybe, I can just fill it in and spread that ink around with the water. Now I pulled some of that greenery in. You can see my paintbrush still had a little green on there. So I simply spread that around to give the illusion of some depth and dimension. And I drew in that little line there for the top of the picture where I needed it, and spread that ink down, and then filled in a few extra dots just using my marker. I didn't even stamp them, to kind of help fill in the vase. Did a partial leaf stamping over on that side. And then I'm going to take some of, I believe this is the Faded Jeans Distress ink, very watered down to give some shading near the bottom of the picture. And then I stamped a few additional florals near the bottom as well. Again, this is going to be the exact same technique, but I decided while I had my stamps out and all of the distress inks and things, it would be fun to make a whole trio of cards so I could stamp greetings from the brand new Bountiful Blessings stamp set. So I ended up going ahead and making 3 of these cards. This is going to be the vase with the sunflowers, and I'll just speed through it since this is basically the same thing as before, but so that you can see the steps and things that I took to create this vase full of sunflowers. And again, just filling in anywhere that I need to by pulling any of that ink kind of in and down. I did fill in with a few additional little stampings here just to make it look like the vase was a little bit more full of flowers. And I did a little two-tone, or layered stamping, I guess I should say, there with the smaller floral on top of the larger one using a little bit darker ink. Again, making the shadow near the bottom. And I always like to have a flower outside of the vase. I don't know why. I just think that it looks a little more realistic that way or something. So I did one down here near the bottom of the picture as well. For my final card, instead of using some of the florals from Sweet Havana, I actually took some of the more rose-looking stamps from the new Bloomsies stamp set and combined them with the greenery from Sweet Havana to make a vase full of really, really pretty pink roses or peonies or whatever you want them to be. I'm using some pink ink here, distress inks, filling in with little bits of greenery as well. And it's okay if they overlap. I am going to be layering the floral stampings for this as well. Oh, and once my base stamp had dried there, I went ahead and filled in a little interruption in the activity there. I was waiting for my flower to dry so I could layer on that smaller flower. Now I'm using the darker ink here from Worn Lipstick on top of the spun sugar to give some layering to these florals. And then I simply filled in, kind of drew in some lines with my crushed olive marker using the small end instead of the brush end to make stems for my flowers. And then I just added a bunch of little dots of greenery to fill all of that in and make it look really nice and full. Now finally, I'm going to add my stamped sentiments with the Bountiful Blessings using the gold Delicata ink from Sukaneko. And these just make really pretty simple cards. After I stamped the greetings and the ink had dried, I did die cut all of these images with the greetings using the Femme Frames stitched rectangle die, and then adhered these to white card bases using foam adhesive. Very simple, very easy cards, but really elegant and perfect for weddings and anniversaries and all of those kinds of events. I hope you've enjoyed this video featuring the Bountiful Blessings as well as Sweet Havana stamps and Bloomsies. All the supplies I used are linked below the video on YouTube. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more videos every week here on my channel. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.